Hi, this is Cindy from Cindy and Nehl Predictions. We're talking about the pineal gland. Are you there, Nehl?
Yeah, I'm right
here. Okay. Today we're talking about the pineal gland. We're talking about fluoride. I don't know if people know that how much the fluoride can affect the pineal gland and affect you. I don't know if you know this, but if you look in the back of your regular toothpaste, it says poison on it. So where the regular toothpaste, the back of this toothpaste, I'm not going to say what brand, but it says, keep out of reach of children. If used for more than brushing or accidentally swallowed, get medical help or contact Poison Control Center right away. So fluoride is poison. So first we need to give you some background about what the pineal gland is, and then we're going to talk about how fluoride affects the pineal gland and can calcify the pineal gland. So first, we need to talk about the pineal gland and what it is. So the pineal gland is in the middle of your brain. We're going to talk about that, and it's also in many religions and cultures because it's also responsible for your intuition. Nehl, what did you say before about what intuition is? That was really good.
I think intuition is an entity which is a combination of feelings and combined with rational logic, and it comes with something that is intuition, which is not all based on reason and logic, but comes with something that is spiritual. And I think, and we call that feelings. Our feelings is how we perceive something without a concrete mathematical, logical evidence. It's just how you feel. And the intuition resides on that feeling. Although, you might argue that feelings come from the brain also. It's, your heart, your heart doesn't have any feelings. It's just the heart. We say, we feel with the heart. But the heart also comes with the center of emotions, which is located in the brain, and I believe it's the hypothalamus. So that feeling comes from the brain, but it is, in other words, it comes from a part of the brain that is the emotion, seat of emotions, combined with factors that are derived from the left side of the brain, which I call rational logic. And this is what you get intuition. And the seat of intuition happens to be the pineal gland.
And, some people say with the mystics, that you have to have some kind of a gift to be spiritual or to have intuition, but everyone is spiritual. Everyone has intuition, or you can call it a gut feeling or whatever you want to call it, but a lot of people ignore it. If you're walking in a dark place at night and it just looks really creepy and scary, but you've really got no reason, you didn't really see anything scary, and nobody told you it would be scary, you just feel it for just no other reason that it's in your gut. So that's intuition too. It's just a feeling that something could be wrong or something could be right. It's also it could be on a positive note as well, that you have a feeling something really good is going to happen. It's not always doom and gloom either. You want to read this? Start here about what the pineal gland is.
Okay, all right. The pineal gland is not technically a part of the brain. It is not protected by the blood-brain barrier. It exists in the approximate geometric center of the brain's mass, has a hollow interior filled with a watery fluid, and receives more blood flow than any other part of the body except the kidneys. Since it is not protected by the blood-brain barrier, the fluid inside the pineal gland gathers an increasing amount of mineral deposits or brain sand over time, which have optical and chemical properties similar to the enamel on your teeth. The calcification appears as a bone-like mass in the center of your brain on an X-ray or MRI. Doctors use this hard white cluster to tell if you have a brain tumor, but if the white dot appears to be pushed off to one side in your scan, they know a tumor has changed the shape of your brain.
Okay, so some of the background on the pineal gland. It's too bad you don't have this book. This book is awesome. It's a book by David Wilcock, of what she was reading from, The Hidden Science and Lost Civilizations Behind the 2012 Prophecies, the Source Field Investigation. So it sort of talks about spirituality, but in a scientific way. So it's kind of bringing together religion, spirituality, and science. So he has a good video on YouTube called the 2012 Enigma, and he also has one on the source field investigations as well. So I encourage you to watch that because it's really, really good. Now we've got.
I just want to say a comment about David Wilcox. I've watched some of his videos, and he is one of the most modern, one of our great thinkers of our modern times. And what he does is that he tries to bring all this spirituality and the new metaphysical age, combining it with science, explaining it in scientific terms. So what he has a new type of logic, which is of knowledge, which is a combination of science and the mystic and the spiritual.
Yeah, and he explaining the science in a regular, without the jargon, in a regular way that at least I understand it. I mean, most people can understand it, so that if you don't have a background in physics, you can still understand what he's talking about, and it's in a scientific way. And he backs it all up with tons and tons of sources. He's got pages and pages, a huge bibliography in the back of this book. I've been waiting for a long time of this book. It's too bad that you can't see it, because we've got pictures here of an MRI that Nehl was just talking about. X-ray images show tumor in the left ventricle of the brain. Calcified pineal gland appears in the top right image. It's a round white mass slightly offset by the tumor. So it's got pictures of this kind of white blob in the middle of the brain of a calcified pineal gland. And we're going to talk about the calcification of the pineal gland and why it's calcified, which is, I think, from the fluoride. But I want to just go over here. He's got a list here on page 41 of the pine cone as a symbol of the pineal gland, because it kind of looks like a pine cone, has a pine cone shape. A bronze. This is a list of. He calls it pagans love pine cones and use in their art. This is from a Christian article, I guess. So this is a list of pine cones that are in Christian. Or that are a list of art that it's in pagan sculptures and things. So you have a bronze sculpture of a hand from the mystery cult of Dionysus in the late Roman Empire, has a pine cone on the thumb amidst other strange symbols. Mexican god holds pine cones and a fir tree in the sculpture. A staff of Egyptian god Osiris from a museum in Torino, Italy, has two kundalini serpents that entwine together and face a pine cone on the top. We might also note that in the medical, I think it's the American Medical Society, you notice that they have serpents intertwining. So I'll just point that out, like kundalini serpents. The Assyrian Babylonian winged god Tammuz is pictured holding a pine cone. The Greek god Dionysus carries a staff with a pine cone on the top, symbolizing fertility. Bacchus, the Roman god of drunkenness and revelry, also carries a pine cone staff. The Catholic Pope carries a staff with a pine cone directly above where his hand is positioned, and the staff then extends up a stylized tree trunk. Many Roman Catholic candle holders, ornaments, sacred decorations, and architectural samples feature the pine cone as a key design element. The largest pine cone sculpture in the world is prominently featured in Vatican Square in the Court of the Pine Cone. So there's a lot of pine cones around, in other words. Kind of skip that they all of these different legends feature the pine cone, they're all sort of worshiping the pineal gland and talk about how important it is. He also has the medical part of the pine cone, and we need to talk about that and how it relates to fluoride, because we want to get to that too. Let's see. I have here of things about the pine cone and fluoride. Let's see. Let's see. Let me just go over to here. Got fluoride. Oh, here it is. Health consequences of the pineal gland calcification. Okay, here we've got about the fluoride, melatonin.
Okay, sorry.
Read here.
Okay. Fluoride may affect the enzymatic conversion of tryptophan to melatonin. I'd just like to say something about tryptophan is an amino acid. So that it converts it to melatonin. Fluoride may also affect the synthesis of melatonin precursors, serotonin, and other pineal products and methoxytryptamine. In conclusion, the human pineal gland contains the highest concentrations of fluoride in the body, but whether or not fluoride interferes with pineal function in humans requires further investigation. But as your pineal gland fills up with brain center, it's calcified. As a result, a consequence of fluoride, you may well be losing your ability to produce melatonin, and that's definitely not a good thing. Melatonin is, is a hormone that is it's important for the circadian rhythm. All the rhythm of the body is based on melatonin. There is one study in the Journal of Pineal Research reveals that many problems could be caused by pineal calcification and malfunction, including depression, anxiety, eating disorders, schizophrenia, and other forms of mental illness. I mean, I think this should be, doctors, I have done a lot of research on depression, and nowhere have I, until today, came up with the idea that a lot of these mental illnesses, such as depression, couldn't come from your malfunctioning of the pineal gland. And if you think about it, it's the things that you're putting in your body that's causing your pineal gland to malfunction. So really, please be careful with toothpaste. What kind of toothpaste you use. I myself happen to use a toothpaste which is very natural that I buy from a grocery store. It's a Korean grocery store, and it's bamboo salt. I think it's derived from bamboo, and there's absolutely no artificial preservatives or anything at all like fluoride in it. So, be careful what you put into your skin, into your body. This is not just toothpaste. In skin lotions, there's something called phthalates that's not really very good for you. You might want to do it. Starts with spelled THFALATES, and you might want to look into it. Some deodorants have it. Cosmetic things for women have it. So be careful what you put into your hair, into the lotions that you use on your skin, even makeup and toothpaste.
Yeah, look up environmentalworkinggroup.com. You can look up the toothpaste and the lotions and the shampoo and the things that you just mentioned, and you can look them up and see which ones are good and which ones are not. So it's a good reference point. I don't know if they would have the bamboo salt, but it's just a good place to start. Like I'm going to mention some other good toothpaste because I hate to mention kind of doom and gloom of what to say not to use toothpaste because I don't want to say that, but to say that there are natural toothpaste. Nature's Gate, I have one here, Nature's Gate natural toothpaste. Burt's Bees, fluoride-free whitening toothpaste, and I have one from called Thieves, which is from what do you call living?
Natural
Living, yeah, from Natural Living, and you can buy toothpaste. So I've got something from Fluoride Action Network that's about fluoride and the pineal gland, because you should also note that there's fluoride in your water, so you can get a filter to take the fluoride out of the water. So this is from the Fluoride Action Network. I'll read this one. Up until the 1990s, no research had ever been conducted to determine the impact of fluoride in the pineal gland, a small gland located between the two hemispheres of the brain that regulates the production of the hormone melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that helps regulate the onset of puberty and helps protect the body from cell damage caused by free radicals. Now, thanks to the meticulous research of Dr. Jennifer Luke from the University of Surrey in England, pineal gland is the primary target of fluoride accumulation in the body. Soft tissue of the adult pineal gland contains more fluoride than any other soft tissue in the body, a level of fluoride of 300 parts per million capable of inhibiting enzymes. Pineal gland also contains hard tissue, hydroxypalate crystals, and the hard tissue accumulates more fluoride, up to 21,000 parts per million than any other hard tissue in the body, such as teeth or bone. After finding that pineal gland is a major target of fluoride accumulation in humans, Dr. Luke conducted human experiments to determine if the accumulated fluoride could impact the functioning of the gland, particularly the gland's regulation of melatonin. Luke found that animals treated with fluoride had lower levels of circulating melatonin, as affected by reduced levels of melatonin metabolites in the animal's urine. This level of circulating melatonin was accompanied, as might be expected, by an earlier onset of puberty in the fluoride-treated female animals. Luke summarized her human and animal finding as followed. In conclusion, the human pineal gland contains the highest concentration of fluoride in the body. Fluoride is associated with depressed pineal melatonin synthesis in prepubertal gerbils and an accelerated onset of sexual maturation in the female gerbil. This result strengthened the hypothesis that the pineal has a role in the timing of the onset of puberty. Whether or not fluoride interferes with pineal function in humans requires further investigation. Now, in David Wilcox's book, it also lists fluoride as serotonin. It says something about serotonin.
It probably depletes your serotonin level.
Of depleting your serotonin. So when the pineal gland calcifies. So
yeah, there are a few neurotransmitters in the brain which regulate good mental well-being, and they're your norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and there is one other one which I do not recall. But many diseases such as Parkinson's, depression, depression, all these are to deal with the levels of serotonin and norepinephrine. The amounts of.
So as we're reading about this, as we're reading about it had said about serotonin in here, what we had thought was that if the pineal gland is responsible for your serotonin level, and if your serotonin level is depleted from the pineal gland, then we have a whole list of drugs that are serotonin inhibitors, SSRIs. So if maybe the reason that you might need the SSRIs are because you have fluoride in the pineal gland, the pineal gland malfunction, which would mean it would be the cause of mental illness, which would be the reason that you might be taking the SSRIs in the first place, or but maybe all you really need to do is take out the fluoride. So it's kind of it's a cycle of fluoride in the pineal gland, which causes a lower dose of lower amount of serotonin, and then you take the drugs to build the serotonin back up. So they're making beaucoup money to give what's causing the illness and fix it at the same time. So we wanted to mention that. And I've got a list here. This is a website. This is really interesting. We're only going to read the headlines here. This is from ssristories.com. I don't know the mental abilities of the people on this list in the first place, and so I don't vouch for them in any way. We're not doctors. We're not diagnosing anyone. We're not telling you what drug to take or what not to take, etc., etc. So we just wanted to make that clear. We're not telling you not to take drugs. We're just saying to read your inserts. That's about all I can say, because in some cases it's dangerous to go off a drug too quickly. So sometimes you need to ask your doctor. Ask your doctor if that drug is right for you. Okay. So you want to read these. This is from the ssristories.com. Just read the headlines there.
Murder, suicide, Celexa, SSRI, Ireland. Jury finds Celexa cause of murder, suicide. Two Physician Foundation demands action. Paxil, Wyoming. Jury finds Paxil was cause of murder, suicide. Effexor and Paxil, mother acquitted by using SSRI defense. Prozac, 77-year-old woman stabs husband 35 times and then stabs self. Paxson, Asian father drowns, 2 children killed self, lawsuit. Zola, famous comedian Phil Hartman shot in his sleep by wife, kills self. Antidepressant, Nepal, famous crown prince of Nepal kills 9 family members. Medication for depression, mother kills her 2 young children and herself. Antidepressant, soldier served in Iraq now with National Guards kills wife.
Okay, I think that's enough there.
So there is just a big list of antidepressants that that have led to murder suicide.
Yeah, there's a lot of that is a side effect of these drugs. The SSRIs are made for depression, and they don't want you to get depressed because maybe you'll commit suicide, but suicide's a side effect. So then people will say, is it because you took the drug, or is it because you have something wrong with you? So you justify what you take. Talk to your doctor and decide if you really need the drug or not. So I've got some more here on fluoride and the pineal gland. So let's see. I've got this here, which is some people use crystals in the pineal gland because David Wilcox had said that there's a crystal accumulation in the pineal gland. So in the pineal gland, I don't have melatonin. This is another part about the pineal gland that what we were reading about before. Here's about the serotonin. This is page 64 of Source Field Investigation. Nicholas Sturman, a professor of pharmacology, and Daniel Friedman, a professor of psychiatry, confirmed that the human brain manufactures serotonin at various sites in the brain. For example, in the thalamus, they discovered 61 nanograms of serotonin per gram of tissue. In the hippocampus, 56%. In the central gray area of the midbrain, they found 482. Within the pineal gland, they found 3,141 of serotonin per gram of tissue. The pineal gland was unmistakably the richest source of serotonin in the brain. This discovery implicates the pineal gland as an important site of serotonic activity. An absolutely shocking discovery was the correlation between high serotonin levels in the pineal gland and certain mental disorders. That's just what we were talking about before, but here's a proof here. The average amount of serotonin found in the pineal gland of normal persons is 3.14 to 3.52 micrograms per gram of tissue. One schizophrenic was found to have a pineal gland containing 10 micrograms of serotonin, almost 3 times higher, while another patient, a sufferer of delirium treatments, had a pineal gland containing 22.82 micrograms of serotonin, almost 10 times higher than the average amount. So you have the SSRI, which are serotonin inhibitors, which take away the serotonin. So there you see what I was trying to explain before. So here's what happens when you get calcification of the serotonin. Start here. Many health professionals.
Many health professionals have discussed the problems with calcification in the body. In the worst case scenario, it can even create painful conditions like gout, in which your feet and toes have so much calcification that they form crystals that hurt when they break. The most important key to eliminating calcification is a healthy diet. If you drink lots of purified water, you help your liver and kidneys flush out all these toxins. Okay? Eating a diet of fresh organic raw foods ensures you won't have pesticides and preservatives accumulating in your body, creating mineral deposits. Dr. Weston Price found that many traditional undisturbed cultures had much higher bone density from eating their native foods. Their teeth stayed beautifully straight without any need for orthodontics, and they hardly ever got cavities without even brushing. And as soon as processed Western food were introduced into the diet, such as refined sugar, flour, non-organic dairy, and factory-farmed meats, their teeth became crooked and started to rot out of their heads. Thankfully, by going back to pure natural diet, rich in traditional foods, including organic animal products, we can actually reverse these problems and decalcify the pineal gland. So it is, if you could go back to organic food, eat meats that are, like grass, where the animals fed on grass. That's very healthy. I read that somewhere.
There's a diet called the paleo diet, and
Yeah.
that's basically what you just said.
Right.
And the Weston Price is also really good. Paleo diet is like they don't drink milk. They use coconut for a lot. They use coconut milk, which is really delicious, by the way.
Okay.
And chicken and beef and pork and lamb and most kinds of meat, hamburger too. But but where you get the meat, like if you can get it from a farmer's market, that's better than just getting it from a supermarket and know where it comes from. You might read David Kirby's book, I think it's Animal Farm, how they what they do with the farming and the animals of how they treat the cows, that they put antibiotics and hormones in the cows because they're so close together, and they don't want the cows to get sick. But if the cows are taking antibiotics, then so are you. And the antibiotics kill the good and the bad bacteria in the gut, and the good bacteria helps fight your immune system and helps fight disease. So that's not good. So probiotics are also a good thing to do. So we didn't want to tell you to just not take fluoride and be worried about your teeth, but it's really the diet that really plays a part in the fluoride, whether fluoride actually works in your teeth or not. So there's a book called The Fluoride Deception. That's a really good book about the history of fluoride, and I believe that book had said that the fluoride deception was that they used fluoride in World War II to make the people in the camps more docile and easier to control, and that it was a byproduct of nuclear fuel. So they needed to get rid of it, and they found out that it was a small percentage healthy for teeth, but not for drinking because it is a poison. So you're brushing your teeth with it. So you might want to look at clean up your diet and clean up your toothpaste to really find another way to prevent cavities. Baking soda is good for getting the plaque off your teeth as well. So you might consider that. So we've got 2 minutes left. Did you want to say anything else on the pineal gland?
Yeah, just saying that medical science and our information today has downplayed the importance of the pineal gland. But if you think about it, it's a very important organ. Actually, your intuition can save you from dangerous situations. It also is the mechanism behind the fight and flight, phenomena that, if you feel danger, you're going to fly away, run away. And this is your intuition that is derived from your pineal gland. So educate yourself on the importance of the pineal gland. That's all.
Okay. Well, this is Cindy and Nehl. Cindy and Nehl Predictions. I hope you've learned something on fluoride. And please don't take our word for it. Go and read Source Field Investigations by David Wilcock yourself. Read about fluoride. Read about serotonin, and don't just take our word for it. Read about it yourself. Read about the pineal gland and take good care of it and eat real good, healthy food. So I guess that's all I can really say. So thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.